Hey everyone, it's been a while, but I am back. Sorry I've been gone. It's been really busy at work, and so I took a little break from this channel, but I am back in the full swing of things and I'm excited to be here and share more tips and advice to empower working women. This video will give some more tips to early career professionals on how to succeed in the workplace. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Black Suit. This is part 2 of my series for tips for young professionals or early career folks out there who are just starting out in their jobs. So part 1, if you're interested, and I'll link it up here, was about how to adjust to a new firm, new work setting. Part 2 will be about how to interact with your colleagues. Now, this is a very important topic, just as important as the tips I provided in part 1. And so I'm going to share some tips on how to interact with colleagues. Part 2, interacting with colleagues. The first tip I have here is incorporating assigning attorney styles. So what that means is you want to look at how other lawyers in your firm are writing memoranda or court filings. You want to make sure that your language and your tone and your style match up with that of those other attorneys, particularly the attorney who is assigning the assignment to you, because they will like things done in a certain way. You know, some people, for example, don't like using a lot of flowery language. Some attorneys like using more descriptive flowery language. Some attorneys like citations to certain types of resources. Some don't. So you want to figure out what your manager or the person giving you the work assignment expects and how they would go about doing it, so that you can kind of mimic that. And that way your work will meet their requirements and be what they wanted it to be, and then you will look really competent, and that of course will help advance you and your position in the workplace. The next tip here for interactions with coworkers and senior level folks in the company is devising performance expectations. So this is a little bit tricky sometimes. So here the tip involves managing the people you work with as you would a team. So I think this tip really is getting at, you want to be sure that expectations are clear. You want to ask up front, what are the expectations when you are given any particular assignment. So again, in my previous video, I mentioned that you want to ask how much time should you spend on a given assignment, so that you're not overbilling or spending too much time. So this tip about expectations goes hand in hand with that. Is you want to say up front what is required and what the parameters of an assignment are, so that there's no miscommunication and no unexpected surprises, and that you are delivering the work that others need from you. So I don't think it hurts to just be very straightforward when you get an assignment and say, what exactly do I need to do here? What should the final product look like? What are the questions that need to be answered? How should I go about answering those questions? What resources should you be looking at? How much time should you be spending looking at those resources? What does the final product need to look like? Is it an outline? Is it an essay form? Is it a PowerPoint presentation? Those sort of questions I think are good to ask to set expectations for your performance. Number 11 is delegating, and I've made a video about delegating because I think it is so important and so often overlooked by young professionals specifically, because it's not something we are told to do. It's not, I think even during training, when you are onboarding at a new job, they don't really teach the art of delegation. So if you're interested in delegating, I'll link the video up here. I made a video about it, and I'll also link it down below in the description box for easy access. The idea is you want to delegate assignments that you are not equipped to do, or you don't have time to do, or that are just kind of below your level, below your skill level. So things like filling out a spreadsheet, keeping track of facts, or keeping track of correspondence, you know, if you're an attorney, or any kind of work along those lines that can really be passed on to an administrative person, you should do that. So because your time is more valuable, and you want to spend your time doing tasks that are at your level or a little bit above your level, so that you're challenging yourself and learning new things. You don't want to do grunt work if you can avoid it, if it makes more sense to have somebody at a lower level do the grunt work. If it doesn't require your personal attention, if the assignment doesn't require you to be the one to see everything through, or be especially focused on every part of an assignment, then it's okay to delegate, and it's actually better to delegate than to try to do everything yourself. And the last tip here is making mistakes. So mistakes are going to happen, especially I think in the legal world, in the legal industry, and probably in some other industries too. It just, sometimes you're under a lot of time pressure to get something done, so you might misplace a period here or a comma there, or misspell somebody's name, or some really small thing like that. Don't dwell on it too much. Of course, if it's a very substantive mistake, number one, don't make that mistake again. Try to fix the mistake if you can. And if it's something that is so egregious that it requires senior people to get involved, you have to make sure that they know that this mistake has happened. It's just not good to try to hide it. If it's something that really requires upper level attention, you want to bring it to the folks who are in charge of you, or in charge of the particular project or the lawsuit, so that they can figure out what are the steps that need to be taken to correct an error. And I've been told by other more senior attorneys who made mistakes in their line of work that it's really not the end of the world. Very rarely will a mistake be so horrible that it will just decide the fate of the case, or decide the fate of a client, or even decide your fate at that company or the law firm. People are not perfect. Of course, you should try to be as perfect as you can, but when there's a huge time crunch, just know that little mistakes are not going to matter. Make sure you focus on not making the big mistakes that could cost your client money down the line. And again, I think what would help in the situation is if you are delegating some tasks when you're under a lot of time pressure. Delegating allows you to focus more fully on the bigger tasks in front of you, the ones that are at your level that you should be handling. And by getting rid of those other smaller tasks, you can focus better and make less mistakes on the tasks that you really need to do. So those are my tips for interacting with colleagues in the workplace for young professionals and young attorneys in particular. I hope these tips were helpful to you. If they were, please hit the thumbs up button, and please support my channel by subscribing. And please feel free to share this video with your friends. Please stay tuned also for my next video, which will be about administrative matters in the workplace. So I'll talk a little bit more about how to handle admin things at work. Be sure to hit that notification bell down below so you'll be alerted when I upload that next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.